Hello, everybody. My name is Joshua Belansky. Anna and I put together our unit design on exploring quadratic functions. So, in this unit, students will be exploring quadratic functions. They'll begin the unit by extending prior knowledge of writing equations to quadratic contexts. They will then create multiple representations of quadratic expressions by factoring before ultimately identifying the roots of quadratic equations. So, the group of students that we chose for to design this unit on, we're going to use the Stevenson population. As you can see, it's about 4,300 students. According to the Illinois State Report Card, 30% of that student population is Asian, 56% of the population is Caucasian, 8% Hispanic, and about 2% is African American. Prior to this unit of study, students will have learned how to write equations of lines. They have worked with transforming functions on the coordinate plane, and they have had the opportunity to make the connection between general transformation form and vertex form of the quadratic. Stevenson High School uses the Common Core math standards. The main one that we're going to use for this lesson is to create equations in two or more variables to represent relationships between quantities, and then graph equations on coordinate axes with labels and scales. Um, you can see the objectives on the screen. We went with a 90% accuracy. We felt with the student population and how well they achieve, 90% is a great target for this group of students. The main teaching strategy that we used to design this unit is Gagne's 9 events of instruction. So you can see the 9 events over to the side here. Step 1 is to gain attention. We're going to do this by using Desmos and a roller coaster activity, which allows students to see some parabolas in real life and kind of get a feel of what we're actually doing. Um, for the second part, inform learner of the objectives. So every day, the objectives will be posted. The students will be taking them down in their notes, as well as on the Canvas page that every student has access to and will be posting on every day. The learning objectives will be constantly posted there for them to review. The stimulating the prior learning, we with the warm up each day, we will be giving them an opportunity to recall some of their prior learning, as well as we're going to give them an opportunity to show their levelness of readiness for the unit as a whole by giving them some choices, which you will see actually later on here. Number 4 here, the present the content. It is very important to not um, overload the students with information. So we're going to keep it not too heavy on the notes part of this. But by the end of the day, we'll want the students to have some kind of summary of the ideas of what happened throughout that day and throughout that lesson, as well as one key example to put into their notes. For fifth step, providing guidance for learning. During the process of discovery, we'll be using a lot of discussion techniques, some summary note taking. We'll be scaffolding throughout, uh, definitely taking a look at their summary sheets to give them a reference area. Eliciting performance, or the practice section of this. Each day, students will be giving some form of practice, whether it's an activity through Desmos or a worksheet that has been given to them. Providing feedback throughout this unit. Feedback is a huge driving force, and with all the technology that we are using, feedback is almost always immediate, and we can give it at any time. Um, to assess the performance, there will be an assessment at the very end of said unit. And finally, to enhance retention and transfer, there'll be a lot of summaries, reflections the students will always have access to, and they can keep it moving forward. Additional learning theories that drove this lesson. We use Brewer's Thinkers tools. Brewer's Thinkers tools, which include motivate, model evolution, formalization, and transfer as the main components. Um, So here you see the technologies that we are planning on using throughout this unit. So we've got iPads, Desmos, Notability, Canvas. All of these things can be accessed through the student iPads, and they are the driving force behind each piece. Desmos is very user-friendly for um, for iPads, and we very much love the use of that. Notability, great app for students to take notes, as well as the teacher to take notes and give to the students as well. Canvas is going to be our main form of communication for the students to communicate with the teacher, or um, to take their summaries throughout the day. This is something that they will be using pretty much every single day. Khan Academy, great website if you have not used. Plenty of examples, plenty of videos. Uh, Teachers can assign things through there, as well as a scholarship opportunity for those students that are looking to go to college. That is definitely something to check out. Uh, so the structure here, we have our eight days with this. Day one, we're going to start with this roller coaster activity. As you can see, it is attached to the file here, so you're more than welcome to click on it and take a look. And we'll see some student examples of this later. This is going to be used as our motivation. Again, this is a real world example of something that the students can be building with parabolas. For day two, it's going to be more focused on continuing to try to build their confidence, build on that prior knowledge to see what how they can actually transform graphs of parabolas. So there's the Desmos Marble Slides activity, which is also linked here. So you can take a look at that. Day three is a factoring review. Both activities here, if you click on factoring, you are going to get the Desmos matching activity. If you click on review, you're going to get the quizzes activity, both focusing on on factoring, as they will need that moving forward. Day four, as you can see, student readiness. Um, Student readiness is going to be used here. Uh, this is the first day we use our differentiated green, yellow, red warm up. It'll be used every day after here. Um, it gives students the opportunity to pick which level of problem that they are feeling comfortable with, so we can kind of see as educators how students are feeling just coming into this task before we even really go over anything with them. Day five, again, we start with our warm up. Um, Day five will be focusing on solving with the square root property. The main mistake here that we're looking for is the dropping of the plus minus. Happens all the time, so that's going to be our stressor throughout here. Once again, students are going to, by the end of the day, they will have to be updating the reflection logs. That'll be done through Canvas. On day six, it's a group review. So the goal for the day, again, start with our warm up, move through this. You're going to go through stations. The students will be working together, trying to summarize and really put together every piece of this lesson that we've gone through. Day seven is going to be more of an individual review. They're going to choose how they want to review their the skills throughout this unit. And then day eight is the actual assessment piece to this. Okay, so here you see your mixed ability differentiation options. Down below is that red, yellow, green warm up that was referenced earlier. Giving you different levels of difficulty for the problems here. An example of a summary sheet that the students will be doing each day to keep track of their notes, as well as use later on in the unit. And of course, we can always use Khan Academy for the videos or the multiple levels of problems that are given there. Okay, here you see two handouts that'll be given to students. Both are actually associated with the Desmos roller coaster activity. On the left is the worksheet that'll be given to them after they create their roller coaster. They will be taking down their equations and eventually solving them. On the right, we have the form that the students are given with the instructions, including the criteria for the roller coaster. Here's a sample student artifact for Desmos. Okay, so as you can see, Desmos gives them all the points are pre-programmed for them, and the students are moving them around, meeting the requirements, and then they will eventually take all of these and transfer them to the worksheet on the previous slide and give us more information as we move forward throughout this unit. For the conceptual categorization of our unit, we went with the um, modification zone of this. We felt that the unit would actually not be possible without the use of technology. It really has transformed how we would deliver this rather than just pushing through paper and pencil and doing everything by hand. Using the technology gives us a great opportunity to have the students generate the graphs live right in front of them and see how each piece moves. And all the feedback that we can provide immediately, even when we're not in the building together, is just a great advantage to this unit. And without technology, that would not be possible at all. Finally, we have our summative evaluation here. There's classwork, there's going to be homework. There's a rubric here for the summative assessment, aligned, to Stevenson High School. As well as we are going to end with the student survey, a Google form for the kids to do to evaluate if this was truly effective or not.